Hey, my name is Matt from 777, and today we're going to be installing our Motorsport door releases for the S650 Mustang. Today we chose to do race silver so we can match the cage that we'll be installing next week. So for today's installation, we're going to be using an impact driver, a 7mm socket, 10mm socket, 3/8" adapter, 5mm Allen key, flathead screwdriver, Phillips head screwdriver, pick, body panel removal tools, needle nose pliers, a measuring device like a caliper or tape measure, and a paper towel. Today's installation is quite simple, and you can expect to take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes per side. Starting at the bottom of the door panel, we have two 7mm bolts that we're going to be removing. They stay at an angle, so be mindful of that. For our next step, we're going to take our trim panel removal tool and lift up this trim right here so we can get access to a 10mm bolt. Using your fingernails, gently lift it up. And work your way around. With the piece off, we're going to take this little tab, push down, and disconnect. Put this on the side for later. Now we're going to switch over to our 10mm and remove this bolt right here. Now using our pick, we're going to be looking for this tiny little hole to give us access to the cover panel right here. Just going to pull back. Now we have access to the last 10mm bolt to remove the door panel. Now we're ready to remove our door card. Grabbing two hands and pulling back firmly. There we go. We're able to remove the door card. Now we're going to be removing all the electrical connections attached to the door card. Squeezing on the tab and pulling back. Same thing for the lock and unlock button right here. And then the last attachment that we have is the actual lock and unlock cable. Now the last step is we're going to remove the sheath just like so. Now with the door card off, we're going to flip it to the back side and be removing this spring here with our flathead screwdriver. I'd recommend eye protection for this. Now using one of the paper towels, we're going to wipe down away the extra grease. Now we're going to be removing the factory door handle. First, we're going to pull it back, then pull it back some more. And on the back side, we're going to see that door handle right there. Wedge it up this area with our body panel removal tool and pull outwards. There we go. Now we're going to take a moment and just clean off all that additional grease, just so we can make sure that it doesn't get on the brand new webbing. Now lastly, we're going to be removing this little rubber grommet right here. Now moving back to our door with the panel off, clean off the last bit of residue that might be on the door release hammer. After we're done with that, we can throw away our paper towels and remove this rubber grommet right here. Pull back. There we go. Now we're going to grab into our kit that was supplied from 777 using the cable lock, the 7mm, as well as a measuring device. We're going to measure this sheath from end to this end, measure out 6 inches. So we're going to pull this rubber grommet here, measure out 6 inches. And we're going to be putting cable lock on this side. Now we're going to hand tighten both of these nuts. And now we're going to be making sure that we pull on this hammer to make sure we don't increase any resistance. Now we're going to put the rubber grommet back in. All right. Not too bad. Now I recommend grabbing your window controller, plugging it back in, and rolling the window up and down just to make sure that the sheath isn't making contact with the window. Now we can disconnect our window controller, making sure that the window is in the down position. Pull on this tab and put this away. Now reaching into our kit supplied by 777, we're going to make sure that we have the correct side. In this case, we're working with the driver's side, as well as the Phillips and washer. Using this rectangular side, push in, making sure to go towards the direction of the door panel. Taking our bolt, threading it on, and using a Phillips, proceed to tighten it. Perfect. Now we're going to be doing a quick check on the functionality of the actual door release. We're going to be closing the door and pulling this way. We should have no obstructions and releasing the door. All right, perfect. Now taking our door release, we're going to be fishing it through this side. We can then hang the door panel off of the top of the door. Cool. Aligning it here. Now we're going to want to make sure that we have this hole right here aligned with that nut. Taking the supplied bolt and spacer, we're going to align this here on the back side. Feed the bolt in ever so slightly. And then putting in the spacer. Then using our 5mm Allen key, we're going to tighten this down. So now we're going to be closing and opening the door and just making sure that the length as well as the function remains. Keep in mind, none of the electronics are plugged into the back, so we will have to take the panel off again. This will give us the opportunity to make any micro adjustments as needed. So the functionality is there. Now I just want to make a small micro adjustment just to reduce this length. I'm going to show you how to do that. Taking the 5mm Allen key, we'll remove the cover plate. Moving the bolt and the spacer. Then popping off the door card. So since I want to shorten the length just a little bit, we're going to pull this rubber grommet back, expose the stop right here, loosen it, and move it a little bit closer in. Right there is fine. feed it back into the door. Okay. And once again, we're going to plug in the window controller and just make sure that we don't get any weird sounds. Cool. Unplug it again. And now I think we're ready to test again, this time plugging in all of the electronics. We're going to take the door handle, feed it right through, making sure that this controller right here sits under the sheath. Plug it in. Plug in the lock and unlock button. Lastly, we're going to make sure that we have the window control switch accessible on the other side. Now we can continue to hang the door and putting it back on the frame. Good. Taking your 10mm and putting it back on. Now with the window down, we're going to test one last time. Okay. Now we can start to put back the window control panel, making sure to click it into place. Snap it back. Now the last step is to replace the two 7mm bolts that go on the bottom of the door panel. Excellent. So this is it. This summarizes the installation of the 777 Motorsport door releases on the S650 Mustang. Now I'm going to show you kind of how to use it and how to be a pro when you're entering and exiting the car. So on the driver's side, reaching over with my right hand, put my thumb here, and do this. That concludes the installation of our 777 Motorsport door release. In the description below, we have the link for you to purchase. We've got plenty of colors to choose from, and the installation is super simple. I'll catch you next time.